So there's healthy couple decides to try open relationship and everything goes horribly wrong. This might work. We're not gonna watch this whole thing, so if you want to finish it, I'll post like the link in Discord or whatever.
I have never needed counseling for a book that I've read.
Sure about that?
No, but this is pretty bad in like the world of not crime. This is as bad as it gets in not like a historical book, true crime book. None of that. This book makes me want counseling. I'm throwing up. It's as bad as they say, but that's why it's so good.
I think I heard part of this one, and it's okay.
It is so bad. You're like, this can't be freaking for real. And then you keep reading the next page and the next page, and now we're here.
She's really good at these, though.
I cannot suffer alone. One thing I will never do is suffer in silence. My voice box actually works better when I'm sick. I have better voice clarity when I'm sick. I actually get louder as my pain grows bigger. These two things are directly related to each other for a very specific reason. So with that being said, let's get into more The Memoir by Molly Winter. And I do want to say that I discovered this book while I was watching I don't think she knows that I exist, a Read with Cindy video. And she was rating the romantic partners in books and if she would marry them in real life. Now, this is a nonfiction book, AKA this is a real ass book. It's a memoir. The woman who experienced all of this in her marriage is writing about it, tippy-tapping on her keyboard, writing about it,
tippy-tapping.
Now is tainting all of us with sin. Now, sin.
Someone used to make fun of me for calling it tippy-tappies, and I think it's hilarious that I'm not the only one. Someone else says tippy-tappies. Holy shit. You're gonna steal, I'll literally be like, what you tippy-tapping? What you tippy-tapping?
Like real people.
I'm a weird-ass bitch.
She was like, I would kill these people. But she felt bad killing these people because they're real people. So she ranked it a little bit higher, but that got me so intrigued. I'm like, what would make the greatest of all time, Read with Cindy, want to kill people? And then I read it. And now I can't stop thinking about it for like the past week and a half.
It's probably Domingo.
We are.
Okay, I still have no idea.
So I was listening to music now. I'm eating.
This is a book about a wealthy couple in New York. At least I think they're wealthy because they have so much time freedom and they have amount of resources to get hotel rooms, get babysitters, go on random ass trips all of a sudden.
Who's the author?
The author is Molly.
Molly.
Yeah. Molly married a guy named Stuart. She calls him Stu.
Oh, yeah, I heard part of this one.
Okay.
Okay.
And she wrote a book about what?
Her marriage with Stuart.
Real
The marriage, it is kind of crazy.
story.
Real story.
And like, we hate Stuart.
I think I hate everyone. This book makes me hate you, okay? There were times I'm reading this book and I'm like, fuck men. Bro, fuck women. Like, fuck everyone. I hate humanity after reading this book. She writes about her marriage and how it became an open marriage, and 10 years of their open marriage is slammed into this 300-page book. And I have never, truly, I am someone where I love everything. If you love it, I love it. If it's consensual, you love it, I love it. Truly, I love it. I'm not really judging you like that. I'm just like, that's a choice. But still, no judgment, just love in my heart for you and your free will. And I think polyamory is beautiful. I think open relationships have the potential to be beautiful. Is it for me? No. I read way too many murder novels, okay? But it is for some people, and I think it's beautiful. I think those people are at a place in their lives, in their emotional intelligence that is great. I can't do an open relationship, but if that's you, do you. That's what I'm trying to say right now. That is what I'm trying to say. I think you have the emotional intelligence. You have the emotional maturity to withstand stuff like this, to go through this turmoil. I don't. So let's get into Molly, the woman who almost ruined my random Tuesday. The whole escapade starts when Molly escapes from the mental asylum.
That's crazy.
Just kidding. She doesn't actually, but she does end bar. Yeah, it's just, she's married. She has a husband.
How old is Molly?
Molly's like in her 40s, buddy.
Oh, okay.
And she's got 2 kids. One of them's, I don't know, 6 years old. The kids are like kind of part of the book, but not really kind of part of the book.
And this started 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're starting 10 years ago right now.
Flashback to 10 years ago. She escapes from the mental asylum, which is her husband that she low-key kind of wants to fucking punch in the face. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a mental asylum and you're my caretaker.
Okay.
That's a really good analogy for life, honestly.
Vitamins at night. I'm like, oh, that's just my nurse coming to feed me my pills. And then I go back to my little mental asylum shenanigans.
Oh my God.
reading
That's actually kind of.
Touch some grass.
Stuart, her husband that she kind of wants to punch in the face, tells Molly he's going to be home early that night, which she has a pickle about this. And I didn't know this was a thing until my sister had 2 kids. Early to Stuart means early enough that Molly is still awake, but late enough that he doesn't have to shower their 2 sons and help put them to bed, which according to my sister is absolute hell on earth. The planet is on fire every time she tries to put the girls to sleep.
That's fair.
That's early to Stuart. And when he gets home, she knows what the schedule is going to be. He's going to want to do it. And she doesn't want to do it with some fucker who comes home after she has to put the kids to sleep by herself.
Hella valid. Yeah, fuck him.
And when they were married without kids, they used to do it 3 times a week. This is Molly and her husband, not my sister and her husband. Calm down, okay? They used to do it like 3 times a week, and now they're lucky if it's twice a month. And it's probably not even the good stuff. It's probably the let's get this over with type of
Hell yeah.
stuff. It feels like a wifely obligation, and Stuart feels like Molly's not that into it. So he tries to spice it up. But his version of spicing it up probably just pisses off Molly because his version is just a surprise finger in the bum bum.
What?
Yeah, he's like, let's spice up our marriage. Surprise! Finger in the bum. Okay.
What the fuck?
Well, so she's grabbing her jacket and running out of the house the minute Stuart comes home that night. Because she's like, I'm not trying to get a finger in the bum bum. This is her escape from the mental asylum. Kids are asleep. Stuart just got home.
Pretty surprising.
She's
I mean,
running outside. She has nowhere to go. And she runs into an old colleague of hers, Kayla. Kayla drags her to a bar and she's like, come, it'll be fun. I'm meeting with friends. She gets to this random bar in Brooklyn where all of Kayla's friends are there, young, hot, childless people. And there's this man behind her with this deep voice, green eyes, wearing jeans, slim hips. He looks young. He looks like he's not a dad. He looks like a daddy, not a dad. He gets her a beer. I'm just curious.
she tells stories really well, honestly.
How did you end up getting dragged here? He's asking her, Molly.
How old is he?
He looks 8 years younger than her.
8
Yeah.
years younger. Okay.
He doesn't look, he is. He's 8 years younger than her.
So she's 40 and he's like 32.
Exactly.
Surprise butt stuff.
But he has a air of youth, the air of youth that someone without children can only have. You know what I mean? That's how Molly
No.
is describing these people.
I don't have that air with you.
Kids and then people without kids. People without kids, they be living life. They be living, okay? So then he's like, where did Kayla drag you and find you? And she says, I escaped from the mental asylum. That's a pretty close guess to what I was thinking. You have the air of an escapee. 2 kids. Already red flags. Molly says she starts getting upset. She just confessed that she has 2 children. She keeps hiding her hands when she realizes that she still has her wedding band on, and she's regretting telling him that she's a middle-aged woman with kids. But instead, this guy named Matt
He's like, no, that's hot.
quite understanding.
Is Matt also real? Everything's real.
Everything's
right?
real. These people are all real.
So she's like exposing these people too?
I don't know.
I mean, what is there to expose?
Okay.
She doesn't really put their last names, I think.
Okay, got it.
And he's like, no, I get it. I mean, not personally. I don't have kids, but my sister has 2 kids. She lives in Iowa, but I visit her a lot. That's probably how I recognize the look on your face.
What the fuck?
She has no makeup on. You know, she barely put on deodorant this morning. She's been running after the kids all day. And she's like, it's that obvious. Not in a bad way. You just look like someone who needs to decompress. So that night.
Damn, he's smooth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's smooth, dude.
Nat pays for all of Molly's drinks because she didn't bring her wallet.
Wait.
And by the end of the night, Molly writes her
I just realized something. In the Domingo skit, the husband's name is Matt.
number down and gives it to Matt. The purpose
If the tables were turned.
is him. But Kayla's so confused. Why are you giving your number to Matt? Matt is 8 years younger than you, which is besides the point because you're married with kids. Molly's trying to reassure her. It's literally nothing. I am married, Kayla. Yeah, if you say so. It is the best night that Molly has had since her kids were born, which makes her kind of feel and guilty. So she rushes home, and the minute that she steps out into her Brooklyn apartment, the toys are everywhere. Everything's everywhere. It's a mess. It's back to mom life. She runs into the bedroom, and Stuart is awake, reading on the bed. Look who's back. She feels like a little twinge of guilt. She runs into the restroom, and she pees with the door open, because that's what you do when you have 2 kids and you're married. And she's sitting on the toilet. I thought you would be home in less than an hour. I would have
If I had 2 kids and a husband, I would be closing that damn door.
called you Molly, but you left
That's the only sanctuary you have.
Sorry.
She left her phone?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So where were you? I was getting worried. I didn't even make it down the street. I ran into Kayla and we went out for a few drinks. Kayla? Yeah, one of my teaching friends. You never met her? So weird. Ah. Then who's Matt?
That's
like-
fucking crazy.
What the f? She flushes the
This
toilet.
is unreal.
Yeah, no, it gets worse. This is nothing.
Well, she's
This is
pissing.
Elementary.
Who's
Just
Matt?
wait. She flushes the toilet to buy some time. Matt? Oh, Matt. He was at the bar with Kayla. I think he's one of Kayla's friends. How do you know Matt? He sent you a text a few minutes ago. What did it say? Stuart reads it in a sexy voice.
Great meeting you tonight, Molly. I hope we can do it again soon, Matt.
Okay, people who sign text messages with their name are like weird to me. Although I guess if it's the first message he's sending her, that's fair. But
I said he was at the bar with us. I had
let me
to
say hello before heading into
fancy
class,
drinks because I
okay?
forgot my wallet.
Wait, you guys aren't off for the holiday?
Well, looks
Crazy.
like you did a great job in getting some
That's pretty weird.
drinks, bitch. Molly's face is turning red, but she's trying super hard to play it all cool.
Hope you have a good day,
So,
Unknown.
it was nothing, and he asks her, "Are you gonna see him again?" What? No. Why would I see Matt again? Because I'm married to you, remember? I remember. And we have kids, and Matt is young and single and definitely not interested. Well, he sounds interested. Seeing his text message made me a little crazy, actually.
Wow.
Why
It's like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, well, I don't know if she's thinking that. I'm thinking that for sure, though. Me, Stephanie Sue, reading this, I'm like, y'all are weird, okay?
Pissed or not pissed?
The energy is like horny. And, well, I'm glad you had fun, you know? And she's like, yeah, well, it's not happening. I'm not going to see him. And Stuart tells her, it'll happen if you let it happen. So I've decided that you can go out with him again, so long as you tell me everything.
Weird as fuck, dude.
Her to Porky Matt.
And he wants to know about it.
Oh, yeah. He wants to hear the details and think about it and
Okay.
talk about it and do all sorts of nasty stuff.
He wants to sit in the chair.
But
in the
also-
hotel room.
That's facing the bed, that single
What the fuck?
chair, the C-U-C-K chair. He said, that chair, I call dibs. That night, Molly can't sleep, okay? She's
So this is the
imagining-
first time Molly heard about this fantasy of his.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And so she can't sleep. She's
I mean, that's better spice than butt stuff, at least. Like a finger up the butt. Like, that's better than that.
thinking about Stuart. She's thinking about Matt. She's thinking about Stuart. She's thinking about Molly and Stuart. They do it here and there, but the whole time she's just imagining that it's Matt.
Cucking is better
instead
than
of
finger at the
Stuart.
butt. Yeah, look, as far as like if you're trying to spice up your marriage and your fantasy is cucking, like he's consenting.
So finally, she texts
She's not really consenting because she's like, this feels fucking weird as shit, dude.
Matt back, and he asks her when she's available to grab a drink. What did you say? I didn't respond yet. Well, I'm into it, baby. I promise. It's okay. Are you sure? I'm sure. She's trying to text Matt about Friday, but she wants to keep it chill. How do you tell your best friend? No. Like,
Cuck is the only thing I would never jokingly agree with, yeah. But again, the husband is wanting to be cucked. But
my husband actually wants me to. Okay? So Friday rolls around. Stuart is gonna work late. The babysitter is coming. And right before the date, Stuart texts her, have fun tonight. I'll be thinking about you, ... This is her husband. pretty. She says it's interesting because Stuart used to make her feel pretty, but not anymore. And it's not even his fault. He still tells her that she's beautiful, but motherhood drained the pretty out of her. All she's thinking is, oh my God, our faces are so close together, and once in a while, their knees will keep touching each other, and then it hits her. She's like, how long have you lived in Brooklyn? She's asking Matt. Oh, my girlfriend and I just moved here a few months ago.
Bro,
We have a place nearby. How about you and your husband?
what
And
is going on?
Yeah, she's like, the floodgates open, and it feels like my husband, Stuart, is just sitting right here. And she starts rambling. She goes into mom mode. She goes into wife mode. Oh, we moved here right before Daniel was born, and Daniel's 6 now, so 6 years ago. And we're actually moving to a house soon, so I think we really like Park Slope. We're going to stay for good. We're going through renovations. It's a huge ordeal, but it'll be nice to have some more space. Who is she? Suddenly, she sounds like regular Molly, and she can't even help it. And this is a sobering thought. She pays for the tab and just leaves. She's like, I can't do this. What was I thinking? This is insane.
Wait, so
Yes.
I'm sorry, clarifying. Why? So the moment that he brought up that he has a girlfriend,
Yes.
she went back into the mom mode? Is that what you're saying?
And then he was like, how about you and your husband?
Oh, like the moment they bring their partner. So now, did she know Matt has a girlfriend?
She just found out.
Oh.
She just found out.
Yeah.
What is Mac doing here?
Exactly. Every single person in this book is deplorable.
Yeah.
Every single person in this book, if they
Yeah.
were admitted for a crime and they said, hey, Stephanie, can you be my character witness and say a few nice things about me? I will pay you $100,000. I would say absolutely not.
So Matt is
Yes.
in a relationship and Mac's trying to sleep with Molly. That's
Yes.
also in the marriage. Like he didn't care.
No.
He's like, let's just do it, whatever.
Yeah, he said,
Okay.
let's just boink boink. She just pays the tab and leaves. And she says, I just didn't realize it was getting so late. Bye. And she's walking home about to cry. She feels, and like you would think that she's about to cry because you have this moment of, what am I doing?
Right, yeah, it was just
I'm
crazy.
a married woman, and like this is so weird. But she's like, of course Matt has a girlfriend. Of course he wasn't just thinking about me, waiting for me to text him back. She writes, he probably finds me entertaining, an older woman who slobbers over him and boosts his ego. So already, I don't know if I like these people, okay? On the way back, she texts her husband, I'm on the way home now. Already? Yeah, it just didn't feel right. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Are you okay? Should I come home? And she said that it feels odd. She doesn't want him to come home because she wants to mourn something that she never had. Also,
That's
you have a
crazy.
husband, lady. Which she's like, I just want to cry in bed alone thinking about losing Matt. I'm fine. Just tired. I'm going to go to bed. And he's all, okay, I'm here if you need to talk about it. I love you. Love you too. So Molly and Stuart's intimate life gets really weird. Molly isn't thinking about Matt anymore, but it's all Stuart can think about, and it makes him extra excited in bed. He's all, imagine I'm Matt.
Wait, Stuart's like role playing Matt? That's crazy.
Yeah, and then he calls Molly a CUNT in bed, and then she starts crying. Who are these people?
Whoa.
She just like bursts into tears in the third act type of crying. Are you mad at me? Oh, no, I didn't mean that in a bad way. I'm just like, I like imagining you with other men. It's what turns me on. But they just want different things with Matt, she says. For Stuart, he wants Matt to pork his wife. For Molly, she wants Matt to go on dates with, to cook dinner with, to have romantic hand-holding sessions with.
Oh.
Yeah. Then a year later,
She barely knows that man too. This is the crazy part. She met him in a bar, tested him like a couple of times, and then tried to go on another date with him and found out he had a girlfriend. Like she wasn't into him. She was into the idea of him. She wants that relationship that she doesn't have with her husband.
a year passes. There's going to be a surprise birthday party for Kayla, and she is invited, and so is Matt. Molly quickly RSVPs, and for the next 2 weeks, she keeps checking
God, she's so
the email RSVPs.
crazy.
to see if
She's
Matt is
crazy.
Oh my
RSVPing.
goodness.
And finally, the party rolls around, and she's reaching for the pitcher of beer, pouring herself a glass when she hears the voice behind her. Hey, can you pour one of those for me too? She turns around, and it's Matt. Eyes are glistening. Sure. have you been? Fingers touch when she passes the beer. Electricity, sparks fly. I've been good. How about you? See, this is why I can't read nonfiction unless it's like, well, I just can't read this type of nonfiction. You know what I mean? Because these people are too real. These people are too real. I like my books where the love interest is, first of all, not married with a husband. Everybody
She created like a whole like mini life with him. Like she was daydreaming about that shit. She was like, oh, I'm gonna go on walks with him, and I'm gonna hold his hand, and I'm gonna fuck. Hey, Spencer, how's it going? Thank you for the raid. If you're new here, my name is Estrella. I'm a Bat VTuber, and it's my birthday. Surrender all your mortal possessions. Who though? No, I don't even honestly know what I was saying. Oh yeah, she was like, I'm gonna go on walks with him. I'm gonna make dinner with him. We're gonna have all these romantic things. I'm gonna hold his hand. That's basically like how she is. So like we're listening to a story. TLDR, basically, married couple, wife goes to the bar, meets a guy, gets his number. Husband finds out like because she left her phone at home, and the guy texts her, and they didn't have sex or anything. They just talked. Or danced or something, whatever. And then apparently the husband is like, hey, yo, girl, can you cook me? Because I think that's really hot. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, just like go fuck him and tell me all about it. Literally, yeah, that's the TLDR so far. So she went on a second date with him, found out he also has a girlfriend. And now she's at a party for her friend that introduced them in the first place. And they're both there. And one time during sets, her husband was like, just pretend I'm Matt. Instead, it just like really makes him like really turned on to listen or to think about her fucking other dudes. So
is single.
I caught up.
And it's like man in a suit walks into a bar.
What did I come into? No one. That's what cucking is.
You know,
you're not the one coming.
Just, I've been good. What about you? Like it's so normal. Okay. Good. Since they saw each other, and that night they get drunk and they get this private small karaoke room inside the bar, just them two. And as they're singing a duet, he comes up behind her, pulls her towards him. He rests his chin on the top of her head, and her butt fits perfectly into his waist.
No way.
Oh way. Oh yeah.
She said all that?
Yeah, she said all of that. And when the song is over, he says, best $10 I ever spent. Which again, see, this is why I can't read nonfiction books. Like I need my men to spend, I don't know, $5 trillion on me before
the cuck also comes, but in his hands. Oh yeah, that's fair. Sometimes, not always though.
And I'll be like, fine, I will approve this kissing that you guys are doing now. It's fine now, okay? And so they're staring at each other, and it's about the time to kiss, but instead, she's like, I gotta go. She leaves, and at home, she's freaking the fuck out. And of course, her husband notices. He's all, you haven't done your eyes like that in a while. You look nice. And she's trying to be all busy, but all she can do is she wants to go to bed and replay the night's events over and over and over in her head. But Stuart, her husband, is bothering her. He's following her around. And finally she tells him, okay, Matt was there. Molly, I know, you're not that hard to read. So what happened? He kept refilling my glass without realizing how much I had to drink, and I promised to sing a duet with him. I didn't think that he would hold me to it, and before I knew it, he put his arms around me, and Stuart is loving it. Stuart's like, hey, you know what Matt is probably doing right now? And she's like, what is he doing right now? He's probably on the couch thinking about everything he wishes he did with you.
This is like crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
Molly closes her eyes and they do it. Her and Stuart, her husband, do it, but she closes her eyes and she's not imagining her husband. She's imagining Matt.
Fucking Christ, dude.
The next day, she tells her like mom friend about what happened with Matt, and she's all, and Stuart wants me to sleep with him. It turns him on. Her friend slipped her a business card. Look, I'm not telling you what to do, but it's a really good therapist I used to see.
Get help, girl.
They were like, you need help?
Yeah, so they hug. And as she ushers her kids out of the house, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna text Matt and not the therapist. And she's all, hey there, what are you doing later? And they start talking and she's like, well, I gotta take the kids to the playground. And he's like, well, why don't you put them to bed and meet me at this new bar that I've been trying to try? And they decide to meet at 9 p.m. Bar. They walk in, sexual chemistry. She's been waiting for this moment. Even at the playground with her kids, she was on autopilot. She was all like, yay, you're doing so great, sliding down the slide. anyone can fucking slide down the slide, bitch. Slide down the slide some more. She's not thinking about it. She's thinking about Matt. Finally, he says, do you want to come over? What? My girlfriend's out of town. Of course, bye. I'd really like you to come over. See, this is why nobody's redeemable. Because sure, Molly has the permission, not the permission, but she has the consent from her husband to see Matt. But the fact that she knows Matt has a girlfriend,
and we don't know if the girlfriend has like okays this.
No, she hasn't. It's pretty clear in the book.
Oh, he's behind her back.
Yes.
Wow.
And Molly wants him to feel like she's doing this behind Stuart's back too.
Oh.
Because he's having emotional turmoil.
Oh.
I know, I'm telling you.
Complicated.
It's not complicated, it's morally corrupt.
Yeah, it is. But like the game that she's playing.
Yeah,
wow.
I know. So that's why I'm saying it's hard. If she was just going after a single dude, it's like, okay, you and your husband are a little kinky. So they go to the apartment and she's about to do it, but she runs into the rain, super stressed. Like they were making out in his studio apartment, and that's when it hits her. Oh my God, this guy is young and he lives in a studio apartment and he's got a girlfriend and I gotta go. She runs out and she texts Stuart everything that's happened.
Okay, so like I know they say that everyone in this story is deplorable. The fact is like she keeps getting guilt and keeps getting guilt, and she probably wasn't going to communicate with that guy ever again if her husband hadn't pushed for it. However, she's also acting kind of fucking crazy about the guy in general. Like she's a little cuckoo. So I do wonder, like, because that just makes her like, oh, you kind of suck. So I'm wondering like what makes her deplorable, because I don't think any part in the story that I had heard myself, because it takes her so long. She feels guilty. She doesn't want it to happen. And if I'm not mistaken, this story gets extra fucked because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Stuart also starts sleeping with people. So I don't know. She wants his Cocoa Puffs and milk the tea. I'm about to ending it a lot. Yeah, it's one of those things though where like, again, I think she's more into the idea of him versus actually him, because again, she barely fucking knows this dude and is acting like she was absolutely head over heels for him. So like, I don't know. I guess, okay, she wants to be romantically involved with him, so I guess that part makes her the deplorable person. That's fair. You know what? Never mind. I get it. I keep forgetting that she just didn't want to hook up with him, or like had like a short-lived fantasy. She like wants to have a full-blown relationship with this man. That's fair.
But like we were making out in his apartment.
I corrected myself.
I couldn't do it, so I'm now outside. And she finally texts her husband, should I go back to Matt's place? And he says, go for it. She runs back, knocks on his door, and before he can even open the door, her shirt is all the way unbuttoned and her boobies out.
Oh, it's too late now.
They do it. Yeah.
What?
When she gets home, Stuart asks, how was it, my sexy wife? Oh, it was fun. But what she wants to say is she wants to go back and hang out with Matt. I'm like, this is so bad, but it gets worse.
Yeah.
That weekend, Molly and the kids are going to visit Molly's mom, which is the perfect time, so fucking convenient for Stuart, her husband, to casually bring up, so Lena invited me over this weekend while you guys are out of town at your mom's.
Wait.
Lena, as in your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah. Worse in this way.
Yeah, I think I told you she's going through a pretty rough divorce. She just wants to talk.
That is wild.
Fucking crazy,
What's her,
dude.
like reaction at that
She
point?
wants to sob, throw up, and die. She's like,
Valid.
just talking, huh? I think so, but... And Molly's like, I don't...
Well, based on a true story from my life, one of my friends met a dude on the communal bus, and then later stalked his Facebook. One day later, guess what? They were already fucking and dating. And so kind of a quick love, yeah. And she's going through a tough time, so I just want to comfort the fuck out of her.
like this, but she's also telling us through the book, like, I did just sleep with a guy, and while his girlfriend is out of town, I don't know what's going on. And
That's kind of how they get you, though. The husband will see, like, oh, the husband will see like an opportunity, or the other part, let's just say partner B, they'll see an opportunity to get you into consenting to an open relationship in very manipulative ways. So he may have never actually been turned on by the fact she was sleeping with other dudes. Well, specifically that one person. He was just trying to get her to do it so that he could like be like, well, now I'm gonna go fuck my ex. Thank you for the 50 members. Thank you, thank you. There's a lot of people that want open relationships but don't think their partners would be into it, end up doing some really fucked up manipulative shit, which is why the therapist would have been a better idea. But yeah, it sounds like he wanted to be with other women and went about it in a pretty complicated way. Yeah, it really like, it makes you think like if this was just him being like, if she sleeps with him, I can use that to be like, well, you slept with that guy, why can't I sleep with her? So yeah, it's those kind of people. And that's why that's why that video on TikTok was going around for a while being like, why does everyone in an open relationship look like that? And then for some reason, the poly community took offense to it and they kind of just proved his point. But anyway, not all of the poly community took offense to it. Only the ones that looked like what he, they self-inserted. They self-inserted so bad. Because it's like, you can look it up and it's be like, why do poly people look like that? And then it's like, and then there's a video, the girl stitched it and she's like, what does that mean? No, because what do you mean by that? And you just look at them and you're like, girl, look in the mirror. But the normal poly people, and I say normal very loosely, I don't know. I don't judge people who are poly, because if everybody's in on it and everybody's happy and there's nothing like fucked up going on and like everybody's on the like up and up, like everybody's happy, everybody's like melding together, I don't think there's anything wrong with polyamory. However, there are a lot of people that use poly as an excuse to just cheat on their spouses. So I think some people are just sluts and don't want to admit that they're sluts, and then they try to say that they're poly. It gives real poly people. Yeah, that's basically a good way to sum it up. But I knew one of those. I knew some unicorn hunters in my life, and they yeah, there's a look. Not the unicorn hunters. Yeah, those guys are fucky.
And I'm like, girl, I feel like you do need that therapist. You should call her up.
She really needed a therapist, dude.
And she's like, I'm not sure.
Because she would have gone through therapy, realized that her and her husband needed a divorce. They would have gone their separate ways, and he could have go fucked his ex without any problems.
And she feels like she wants to throw herself onto the ground, cry in a fetal position. But she says, I guess it's okay. I mean, it's not fair if I'm the only one who gets to. And he's all,
yeah, see, that's how they get it. That's how they get you. Because it's like, well, I guess since you got me to sleep with that guy, it's fine for you to sleep with your ex.
I mean, I doubt anything's going to happen. She's still pretty hung up on her husband. But I just wanted to make sure you're okay, just in case. And she looks at him and she's thinking, does he know I'm lying? And I'm like, bitch, of course he knows you're lying. Like, he knew that you went and hung out with Matt without you even telling him. And suddenly he's fucking dense and doesn't know that you're lying? He could tell. But instead he's I'll drive you to the airport tomorrow.
Ugh.
I have so many things to say. This is when I decided I hate everyone in this book, because it feels like he conveniently tells her nonstop, and you'll notice this as a pattern. He tells her, you can go do these things with other men just so he could do it with other
exactly.
women. And also an open relationship, and then suddenly an ex-girlfriend that's completely different.
Yep.
Completely different from Matt down the block, and then an ex-girlfriend with so many emotional baggage.
Yeah. So does it sound like he's already planned this from the get-go?
Yeah.
100%.
She does this, then I can do A, B, C, D, E.
Exactly.
He's manipulating.
Yeah.
And plotting.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she's
like, at this point, she already slept with him.
Are the captions up?
You say and do now. Like,
yes, but also it's so crazy to me that these two people have children together, because I feel like we could be having an argument about bagels, and I would feel very comfortable telling you that's not the same thing. Like, I feel like in this moment, if you're in a loving marriage, you could say easily, well, I don't feel like that's appropriate because it's not the same thing. Like, she feels guilty and pressured into saying yes because she slept with Matt.
Yep.
But also, it's not the same thing. It's an ex-girlfriend.
But also, she had free choice.
She goes to her parents.
Like, she chose to do it. At the end of the day, she did do it on her own. However, it wasn't without pushing from him.
House. I think they live in Chicago, and it's just the whole weekend. She can't think about anything but
his wife would randomly cook.
She's taking care of the kids.
I think it was opportunistic. I think he was just Like, he took the opportunity when it was presented to him. Crazy Campbell, but it paid off.
She's taking care of her sick mom, but again, all she can think about are Stuart and Lena. And she also reminisces to back to, I believe, 6 years ago, before she gave birth to their first son. Her aunt had randomly told her that her mom had an affair with her best friend. So Molly's mom had an affair. And Molly's aunt was like, oh, your mom's not perfect. She be cheating on your dad. And I don't know why she just thinks about that. I guess the open relationship and all of this is bringing it to the forefront.
That's it. There's also like the parents getting involved in some circumstances is also really fucked up because like I've seen a lot of women specifically. I imagine this still happens with men too. However, it's not. Like, men aren't typically the ones that go to Reddit and post about it. So I only know from women. Honestly, it sounds like he was either going to cheat on her or maybe he already did at that point. I think he's slept around on her before because he would be like, oh, I'm coming home early, whatever. He saw the opportunity and took it. Yeah, exactly. But I think like I hear it more from like the women's stories on Reddit. What will end up happening is that the husband will cheat on the wife. The wife finally finds out about it. And then when she goes crying to her parents, the parents end up telling her, nobody's perfect. You should just forgive him. People cheat. People make mistakes. Like, we cheated on each other like 3 times. Like, and we're still together. We're still in a happy relationship when they're not happy, obviously. But like, it just kills me when the parents are just as fucking toxic and enabling as the spouse. Because then it's just extra worse. Because a lot of times if the spouse is already fucked up and like is being toxic towards the other person, then like it's just reinforcing those views and those values. So like a lot of toxic. Because if the partner is already toxic, then they're probably isolating them so they don't have a support group to be like, they don't have those friends anymore to go to and be like, my husband or my boyfriend or my fiance or my wife, my girlfriend, whatever. They don't have those friends anymore to go to and to get like a morality check and to get I'm trying to like, for some reason I'm trying to like get it equated to a D&D like perception check, but like a morality check, or like they don't have like the confidence boost or the support net to be like, yeah, we're here for you if you like choose to leave him. Like instead the parents just send them back to the cheating toxic spouse being like, well, that's just how relationships are, sweetie. And it's like, so dude, I'll give it one thing. I'm glad Reddit exists for those people, because a lot of times Reddit has saved so many people from toxic relationships. It's crazy. And like, don't get me wrong, it's a cesspool, and like it's everywhere on the internet. Like you're gonna have issues like that, but like the amount of like updates that come out of some of these Reddit posts, and it's like, thanks to you guys, I was able to build the courage to like finally leave my abusive ex or my toxic ex or my cheating ex or my parents. Like people have gotten like they're like, thanks to you guys for giving me the information, I was finally able to get away from my abusive parents. Like with the gaycation. Oh my god, dude, that shit. Ugh. The funny thing is I saw the gaycation way before you guys did. Like me and Steele saw it like a couple of months back when it first came out, and then the rest of you guys finally saw it on like YouTube Shorts or something because you're so behind with your YouTube Shorts. Fucking losers. No. Get on TikTok where things are up to date. What happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, of course. Dude, people give TikTok shit, but like YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and all of them, they're like 6 months behind on the memes. No.
Front of her brain, and she's thinking about all of this and the harsh realities of motherhood. And finally,
I have to be really nice because like some people will send me like either Twitter or YouTube short links, and I have to be like, oh my god, haha, so cute, haha. When I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that like 6 months ago.
Convince her mom about it, and her mom is just very nonchalant. Like she asks her mom,
it's like an aquarium,
about what you did with Jim, your best friend, how you had an affair. And she's all, yeah, it was your dad's idea.
What?
So she's like, what the fork is going on? She lands back in LaGuardia. Stuart picks him up from the airport, and suddenly Stuart that she didn't want to see, Stuart surprise finger in the bum, suddenly
I was
he's
acting like he was part of the guild, but was actually into pony RP.
My husband is.
What do you mean?
Because I guess he spent the weekend with the ex-girlfriend, she suddenly appreciates her husband more.
A whole weekend.
She's like, my husband is so hot, I should tell him that more.
What?
That's what I heard in a lot of healthy open relationships. Clearly, this is not a healthy representation.
Yeah.
From like, there was a brief moment where TikTok, my FYP, was all these polyamorous relationships, because there was like a thing on TikTok. People talk about their relationships, and then there's a lot of engagement because people are like, I could never, right? And everyone's saying you find your partner hotter because other people want your partner.
Oh yeah. Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
so then she's all like, he's so hot. He's got such a tight ass.
What?
This is a lot going on right now. When they finally get home, the kids are in their rooms and she asks him the question that she's been dreading. And she's all, did you sleep with her? And he says, yes. She collapses onto the ground, a fetal position, which, you know what? How the f is that fair? Again, this is his ex-girlfriend. It almost feels like he set it up. And
Yeah, it's a weird moment because you feel like you're being either a hypocritical or you feel like you're holding up double standards, but like she slept with a random like dude that well, not a random dude, but a friend of a friend, and he's sleeping with his fucking ex where there's a lot of baggage. He 100% set it up. Yeah, I refuse to believe that he didn't.
So distraught about it. But that night, he
So slept with someone else, so I'm not sure. Yeah, that's why, like,
they sit on the couch.
that's why it is hard. But like, again, it's the emotional aspect. But then here we go. She wanted to be romantic with her side piece. She wants the romance, which is why she should have gone to a goddamn therapist so she could divorce him and find someone that she can have that life with. Like, there's someone out there that would love her and would love her children and would be the person that she wanted Stuart to be. She didn't just want to have sex with, yeah. She was in love with the fantasy, but that's the thing too, is like, it wasn't him specifically. It's the fantasy of having that romantic life that she craves. And that's where the situation is getting fucked. They both suck. They all suck. The side pieces suck. The ex sucks. She sucks. He sucks. Boom, divorce. Yeah, they should have divorced like.
And he seems agitated. And he
One thing that people don't understand, and it does take some time, and I've seen this in TV shows, I've seen this on Reddit, I've seen this in other places, TikTok, whatever. Get you a partner that feels guilty for just having a crush on somebody. Apparently she said several dates. Well, just one actually. It was just the one. And she did it one time, and I don't think she ever did it again. But I don't know. I don't, there's a lot cut out in the TikTok version, but it's like, people get you a partner that feels guilty for having a crush on somebody. Because like, that's the kind of partner you can trust. Because something people don't realize is like, you don't just stop finding other people attractive or like getting butterflies because you start dating somebody or you're married to somebody or anything like that. Like, you're still gonna see somebody and be like, oh wow, she's pretty, or like, oh damn, look at that ass. Like, you're still gonna get that, but it's like the level of respect that you have for your partner to like not to thirst over. Because like, if I was, so like, for me personally, if I was in a relationship, like, yes, I find women attractive. However, I don't think, I'm gonna be really real with you guys right now, I don't think I would ever actually be able to sleep with a woman. I think they're beautiful and I think they're amazing and I love spending time with them. However, it's one of those things where like, it's just little baby, like, it's just little baby stuff. It's like, oh, I think she's cute, or I think she's pretty, or like, holy hell, she's gorgeous. But it's never like, I would never actually do anything. I know, right? But I'm also like not much of a sets person, which is weird considering I do ASMR and SFW, but I'm not like a huge, like, that's why most of my jokes are like hee funny pee jokes. I don't really like, I can't be like a full-fledged YouTuber. Although if I could harness the voice and maintain it, I would be able to, but I would still probably just embarrass myself. I'd be sitting there with my face red the entire time and it wouldn't be from allergic reaction. I'd be like, oh god, you're so handsome. And so it's one of those things where like, I think women are beautiful and I think they're attractive, but it's almost like, I don't know. I would never like flirt with a woman IRL, and I would never like try to get with someone IRL. So it's like one of those things where like, if I like dated a dude and I was like, oh, these tip tops are fire, it's just thirst traps, bro. Although if they told me though, if they were like, hey, I'm not really comfortable with you watching hot sexy women, I'd be like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Understandable. Never flirt with one. Well, GF instead of YouTuber. That's the thing though. I've done some of the, I I can separate myself from those because to me, it's just recording a script. I'm really separated from that shit. Like, it's kind of easy for me to do that. However, it's all about what your partner is comfortable with. So like, well, I can separate myself from that. What if like the person I was with couldn't? So at the end of the day, I would rather respect my partner's boundaries because like people are like, oh, but that's toxic. Oh, your body, your choice, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, but I care about people. I don't know, dude. Like if it was something I felt really, really strongly about, then like it could be something that we would discuss every once in a while to be like, hey, you know, like, have you like thought about it at all? Like, have you like decided anything? Like, are you still uncomfortable with this? Are you still comfortable with this? Like, it's all about checking in with people. My moral compass has been overstimulated. What about crazy happy? But that's one of those things where it's about healthy communication. And like, there's something like, it's hard because like, there's a lot of people, like women specifically, because like women are so used to like having like rights taken away or like being seen as less than or being treated with less respect, then a lot of them are like very headstrong and they're like, you know, I can do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to make an OnlyFans, like you just have to deal with it. And it's like, look at all this money, like, you know, we're getting money, just deal with it. And it's like, but I don't know, dude. If you respect your partner, it's something you should have a discussion about, and it's something that you guys should agree on or come to a compromise or like anything like that. It's 100% like all about that healthy communication, baby. Like, it goes on both sides though. It's both sides. Because like men are stereotyped as like the sleazeballs. Like they're gonna like cheat on you. They're gonna leave you. Like they're gonna like spend like $500 a month on OF models. And then there's serial cheating, which they've done studies on and found that like it's very similar to like an alcoholic's brain. So like when someone just absolutely fucking cannot stop cheating, it's typically a brain issue. So they need to get therapy. They need to get help. But it's so stigmatized. My parents have been happily married for like 35 years and they both put each other first in almost everything. Yeah. And for example, look at Vex and Zolan. They're like the textbook definition of a healthy relationship. Yeah. Like both Zolan and Vex are like, they're on the up and up. They know what each other is doing. And like, if anything made Zolan uncomfortable, like they would talk about it. Like, you don't have to do everything that they do. Like, you don't have to be comfortable with your wife doing NSFW content. However, that's something that like both you and your wife should be able to discuss and talk about. They don't hide anything. Yeah. About communication. Exactly. Plus, like, I don't know, like it's kind of the thing about like they were kind of saying in this video, like sometimes people wanting your wife makes your wife hotter. So maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, oh my god, thousands of people want to like date my wife or fuck my wife. Like, damn, I really fucking scored, dude. Like, I fucking crushed it. Hell yeah. But no one's actually doing anything with his wife. Like it's audio and video and like scripts and stuff like that. And even if it was, that's something that they would discuss. You know, he's just as an FSFW and has the same degenerate sense of humor she does. Yeah, he's such a fucking little gremlin though, dude. He's a sweetheart though. I went into Vetch's streak because I've talked to Zolan off and on over the years. He's absolutely a sweetheart. The little like him sneaking into her room while she's streaming and the little giggles, he's like hee. And then you hear him running, he'll do something and she'll scream at him and then he'll run off giggling. Like, it's to relationship goals 100%. He's such a shit and I love it. You know, I like went into her stream one day, like, and I was just like, oh hi, really sorry or whatever. And one of her mods like fucking shouted me out and I was like, hello. But that's the thing is like, it's about comfort levels and it's about discussing things. And it's like, if it came down to it and like my partner was just like, oh, I'm not really comfortable with that, or like I don't want you to do that, I'd be like, oh shit, okay. But like I do like, because my biggest issue is that I ask why a lot. I want to understand people's thought processes and logic so that I can see it from their side. And sometimes it just comes off as me trying to argue with people and it sucks. I'd ask follow-up questions to be like, okay, like what part of it makes you uncomfortable? Is it like an overall thing? Is it X? Is it Z? Is it whatever? You know, out of sight, out of mind? Like, you know, how do you feel about this? I want to see it from other people's perspectives and their point of views because I am so detached from it. Like, if I had a 3D model, there's programs I could use to pose it, which I do technically, but there's programs I can use to pose it. So like if I did photo shoots, I wouldn't have to physically be the person doing it, you know? So like I'm just basically taking screenshots of a video game in my head. That's basically what it is for me. That's literally what it is. However, if your partner can't separate you from the model, it can be difficult. Some people can. Some people can separate them. Like, I think that's what Zolan said. It's like Vets isn't like, there's his wife and then there's Vetsoria, you know? I think maybe he said that. Some people can separate their girlfriend or wife or husband or boyfriend from the model, but some people can't because it's like, well, it's your voice, it's your personality, it's all about communication. But that's the thing, like she had like at first she had the crush, and like that's not bad. It's probably not something you would tell your partner because like at the end of the day we are people and we have feelings. Like he has a real life and a digital one. That's fair. I can see both points of view. Yeah, and neither are wrong. But that's the thing. She had a crush and we don't know, honestly. I wonder if in the book she says in the book if she was going to pursue it if Stuart never found out. I'm curious about that aspect of it. But it seemed like she had a crush and it got out of hand because her husband encouraged it and nobody was making her feel bad for it. So she was just like, oh, like it's fine, like blah, 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 whatever. And so the crush, like, I don't think it ever stopped being a crush, honestly, because infatuation might be the right word. Because again, she was like instantly head over heels, which really just sounds like a high school crush or something, right? Like you're like, oh, I love that guy, I've never talked to him before. It really just sounds textbook like high school crush. And because the husband was like pushing her and encouraging her, she still felt guilty as shit. But again, this is a book written from her point of view, so like we don't know. But like, as if we're taking it for face value, like it was an infatuation, it was a crush, and her husband like encouraged her to take it to the next level, and she wanted to take it to the romantic level, but he wanted her to take it to the sets level. So it's one of those things where it's just like, again, it's like you wouldn't tell your partner you still had feelings for your ex, or you thought your ex was still attractive, or things like that. And like, because I mean, some people could probably handle it and they'd be like, oh, do you still think she's cute? Like now that you're outside the relationship, like do you still find her attractive? Because a lot of people experiences will make someone appear unattractive to them, which is really interesting. Because it's like you think this person is like gorgeous or beautiful, oh my god, I'm in love with them, and then like they cheat on you or they abuse you or they're toxic, and then you get out of the relationship and you look back and you're like, how did I ever think she was pretty? Like people can switch like that. So like in those kind of cases, I would be asking a genuine question and be like, oh, like did your experience, but you could word the question differently though, so it wouldn't be so trappy. You'd be like, did your negative experiences and like the breakup and everything cause her to like, did it alter your perception of her as far as like attractiveness and like all that kind of jazz? My ass is dead to me. Yeah, but like, is she a cute corpse? So it's interesting, and that would be like asking for science, but there are like toxic ass bitches that be like, you still think about your ex. Okay, but you can acknowledge that they're good looking and still only think of them as a colossal bitch. Yeah, exactly. But some people can't handle that because like there's a lot of people with low self-esteem, and it's not necessarily like toxic, but it's like, well, I mean, they're being toxic to themselves, but it's not necessarily like toxic to be like, it is toxic. Oh God, what am I trying to say? So like it's toxic to try to compare yourself. If you're like, do you think she's prettier than me? Like that shit, that's some gross ass shit. That's how you'd be like, I'm hotter than my ex. Fuck. People end up comparing themselves to others. And it's easier to compare yourself to someone's ex than it is to compare yourself to a stranger, because you're like, if a woman is constantly, or even a dude, honestly, like it happens both ways. If someone is like asking you a lot of times, like, do you think she's pretty? Do you think that person's pretty? Do you think that person's attractive? It's because they're comparing their body because they think less of themselves. More than likely, it's because they themselves feel unattractive. And they want you to respond in a way that makes them feel better, because in their head they're like, oh God, I'm never going to be able to look like her. And so whenever you like say it's like, she's okay, but like, I don't know, then that's kind of a response that would be like, oh, thank God. If it's like, yeah, she's pretty, it'd be like, prettier than me? Because I don't look anything like her and you think she's pretty. Does that mean you think I'm pretty or not? Like, it's toxic. It's very unhealthy. However, it's because they don't feel good about themselves. It's not that they're trying to make you feel bad or trap you or whatever. They just want to feel better about themselves. They just want to, like, it's that comparison thing. It's like constantly tearing other women down. Like I was watching a podcast recently about like 30-year-old women, and they're like, dude, I don't care if a guy sees me in like a hoodie and messy bun and sweatpants, but if a group of teenage girls sees me like that, I feel like they're judging me. And they're like, I don't dress for men. I dress for the teenage girls so that I can feel cool. Like, but I don't think you have to lie. I think you can play off the question and be like, she's okay. Not really my type. And then you could like throw in a compliment. You know, I'm actually kind of really into girls with long purple hair and blue eyes, and be like, oh yeah? Yeah. Are you? Like, you can turn it around so it doesn't have to be a whole big thing. Yeah, maybe It's girl is pretty, but only my girlfriend can make me do a buka. That's fair. Yeah, you can turn it around. And then maybe it becomes like a funny thing. Like maybe she's just like, okay. And she's like, all right, what about that girl? Do you think that girl's pretty? And then it's just like, it starts becoming a bit, you know? It stops becoming a comparison thing, and it starts becoming like a funny hee-hee thing. It's like, you see the group of teenage like girls that look like they're like really fashion forward and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh my God, they're so cool. I wish I could have dressed like that when I was younger, and like, look at me, I look like shit. They're probably being like, oh my God, look at that girl. I get what they're thinking, and I understand it. It's because like, they're not, because one, they don't want the teenage girls to think they're attractive. They want the teenage girls to think they're cool. And like, they want the teenage girls to be like impressed by them and be like, oh my God, she's so cool. I want to be like her when I grow up. Like, that's what they're looking for. Some like take it a step further and they say that like they dress for their teenage selves. There's a lot of people that are like, now that I'm an adult and I have adult money, I'm dressing for my 16-year-old self, because like, I want my 16-year-old self to like see me at 25 and think I'm like the coolest thing ever. Like, some people like try to like achieve goals and do things for their younger self, so that they can like, if they like, you know, it's kind of like those movies that are like, you know, 15 going on 30 or whatever the fuck it was called. Like, it's similar to that. Like, you want your 15-year-old self to think like you at 30 is like the coolest shit ever, and be like so excited to grow up and be that person. That happens with like a lot of J fashion girls and guys and stuff like that, because when you're a teenager, you can't afford to spend $100 on a fucking dress. When you get older and you get adult money, you can. It's like, crushes are normal and they happen. It's what you do with them is the other problem. Like, if you go home and you tell your husband like, oh my God, this new guy that started at work is just so cute, that's kind of fucked. That's kind of fucked, dude. If you're just like, in your head, you're like, oh, he's cute. Or you might get those little butterflies every once in a while. Like, that's not obscene. That's not unusual. That's going to happen. Probably not as commonly, because I feel like when you're in healthy relationships, I feel like the crushes like hardly happen. But it's just like one of those things though, of like, it's what you do with things like that. Like, there was a Reddit story. I'm an adult. I definitely have the money to buy all the Lego sets kid me wanted. I remember seeing a Reddit story about a guy that had like a wonderful relationship. He actually, like, according to him, he absolutely adored his wife. They loved each other. They were doing great. And like, I think the wife was the OP, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while, but basically like, he started a business, I think, or they started a business, one of the two. And I think she mostly worked from home, but he worked at the office at the business, and he hired a secretary, and the secretary started flirting with him, and he never really did anything. Like, he liked the attention, and like, maybe he might have flirted back a little, but it's not like they were like exchanging nudes. They weren't like kissing. They weren't like, they hadn't crossed over into emotional or physical affair. Like, it was just like hee silly stuff. It's not hee silly, to be honest. I think like 100% personally, I think unconsensual like flirting is crossing a line. Like, if your partner like isn't, because some people are flirty, some people are just naturally flirty, and so I think like, if you're a flirty person and your partner knows it and is okay with it, and it's like, oh God, that's just how Sasha is. Why did I say it's my cat? No, that's Sasha. Really, that's just how Stacy is. She's just a flirt. Like, that's one thing, but like, if you're like not typically a flirt person, you're flirting, I think that crosses a boundary, especially if your partner is not okay with it. Should I get hit on sometimes? just sometimes like people ride it. Like if someone randomly compliments me with unprovoked, you look really nice today, I'll like ride that fucking high for 6 months because I don't get compliments at all. So when I do, like, you complimenting my VTuber model is different. That doesn't count because it's not me, you know? We are two separate individuals when it comes to appearances. I was about to say, isn't all flirting unconsensual? Well, it's just, you know, there's some people are just flirts. And like some people are comfortable with it. And it's like, oh, that's just how Stacey is. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, aren't you like concerned about her talking to him like that? And be like, dude, she talks to her dad like that. Okay. It's like, what? But it's one of those things where like he was flirting with her, they were flirting back and forth, but they weren't like texting each other. They weren't like sitting, like it was just like, it wasn't sexual from what I know. However, I think it started, so like it was a slow burn. So like it started to build up. She talks to her dad and her daddy like that. But it starts to build up and it starts to become like flirting, not just like the like, damn, you look great in that tie. But it starts to get to like, oh man, pour that coffee slower. God. Oh, put creamer in my cup for me. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, it starts to get to a line where it's like weird. And like the wife doesn't know any of this is happening. But I know there's like a plot twist to the story that I can't remember. But the extent of it is he had a wonderful, happy relationship. And because of a misunderstanding or because like something, it was weird. I don't remember what it was, but he felt somewhat justified, not like innocent, but he felt like it was the right time to go for it. Like he felt like this was his moment. Like this was when he decided to sleep with her. And then he got home and it turned out there was a misunderstanding. He absolutely broke down and his wife was obviously upset and left him. And most of Reddit was like, bro, you deserve that. I wonder if I can find it to see what the plot twist / misunderstanding was. But they're like, bro, you deserved it. Like you absolutely fucking brought that on yourself. Like 100%. But it's also like, why don't you have enough self-restraint to not flirt with someone or like not try to sleep with, like, why is there like, cause like I would feel nauseous. I would feel sick, dude. I remember like back in the day, I say back in the day, it was probably like senior year of high school or some shit, you know, dick pics were prominent and like short relationship or whatever. But like, I still like, I think some dude like sent me a dick pic out of nowhere and I was like, I like ran and I was like, hey, I just want you to know I did not ask for this.
It up, and she's so distraught about it. But that night, he's mad at her. They sit on the couch. And he seems agitated.
Okay.
And he tells her, I don't know how to talk to you about this. I don't want to feel guilty about doing something you gave me permission to do.
Not my fault, you really.
Of course.
Imagine being fetal position crying and your husband is like, well, you told me I could. And he says, I don't think that I should have told you about Lena. I'm into hearing about you and Matt, but
what?
I don't know. You don't feel the same way about me being with other women, so I just want you to know that Lena is never going to replace you. She is my friend, and that is it. Just like
she's my friend. I almost said, yeah, a friend that I fuck. And then I was like, well, I can't say much on this one. But in my defense, I had feelings for all of them, and they didn't want me. So there's my trauma. There's my trauma. It was one of those things where like one of them in particular, it had been like years. The last one taught me that it wasn't that I had crushes on them or I had feelings on that for them. I mean, I did, but it was that like, I finally learned how to just be friends with dudes. I finally learned like how to like be friends with a guy and not have feelings for him, because it's just like I learned that like I had what it's in like borderline personality disorder, it's referred to as a favorite person. For people with autism and ADHD, you hyperfixate on people, and I've really hyperfixate on friendships. I've gotten significantly better. It's not something I have to worry about anymore. It was like one of those things though where like I mistaken the hyperfixation for feelings, and I also thought that I could just convince people to have feelings for me. So it was one of those things where like, I don't know, my brain just didn't process things until like, I guess it's that maturity thing. Cause you know how neurodivergent people like mentally age slower. I think it just like, it took me longer than everybody else to realize like relationships and romances and how that shit actually worked. I wish I had had the knowledge when I was younger, but hey, you live and you learn. And now like most of my friends are dudes and I don't want to fuck any of them. Now I just don't want to fuck anyone. She's never gonna want you, chat. I think I made a joke to Sin at some point that I was like, you know, the more that I've YouTube, the more that I understand Mooney's point of view. Like it's fair. I exaggerate some things and I under exaggerate others, and you guys will never know which one I'm exaggerating in this instance. Am I exaggerating or am I just overcompensating? Or am I being serious or am I just overcompensating to ensure that no one gets parasocial here? Because that's part of it too. It's like we have each other chat. Do you guys miss Ginger's chat? That's rough, guys. Guess I can go drinking with Pistol then. No, come drinking with me.
Like you went mad. It doesn't mean anything. Again, Molly's head is spinning. Meanwhile,
being serious,
density of
you'll be forever alone just like us. So fuck off.
Denser. He says, but I will admit, it feels good to be seen as attractive, you know? And Molly is just sobbing. She's like a mess right now because
that's the hard thing about relationships though. And it was like, we're never gonna get through this video. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. But that's kind of the hard thing about relationships though, is that like people get too secure and too comfortable and they stop putting in the effort. Like telling your partner that you think they're attractive or like simply just touching them sometimes. It's like you grab their hand and then you hug them. Like just simple acts like that can really just keep things like I saw a TikTok a couple of days ago. It was like, be the partners that like get excited when the other one comes home and give them a hug and a kiss when they come in the door. Because that can be the one thing that will keep you guys from falling into that roommate stage. But it's like, that's one of the things that will keep you from getting into the roommate stage is like, if you keep putting in effort when your partner comes home to show them that you miss them, it takes like 4 seconds. It takes like a couple of seconds to just do something to show somebody that you care. And it's really easy for people to get comfortable, especially like you worked for 8 hours or more and like you're tired and like everything sucks. But like if you look forward to going home because your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend is there, let them know that that's something that you look forward to every day. Show them that you look forward to it every day. I know people that are the opposite. The dude at my old job stayed at the office until like 10 p.m. because he didn't want to go home. That's the like, if you are dreading, like people get married and then they hate their partners. And like that shit fucks with me so bad. Like there was another guy that did like a TikTok or whatever. And like the guys were like, hey, you want to come drinking with us? Like his coworkers. They're like, oh yeah, you should come out with drinks. And he's like, oh no, like my wife wants to watch a movie, so I'm gonna go home and like watch the movie with her. It's like, why? You don't like just blow her off, dude. Just blow her off. Like, fuck her. Like, come hang out with us. And he's just like, dude, I love hanging out with my wife. I fucking love it. He's just like, if my wife tells me that she wants to go watch a movie, I'm down. If I have plans with other people and my wife is like, hey, you wanna go to the park? Well, fuck you guys, I'm going to the park. Okay, but bros night, if you want to have bros night, that's fine. But like he was like those guys like talk about how much they hate their wives, like they're so annoying, they don't want to spend time with them. And it's like, then why the fuck did you marry them? Like I don't know, dude. Some of the like older generations I think gave people really toxic and like shitty viewpoints of what relationships are supposed to be like. Like my grandparents, like my grandmother like loved doing everything for my grandpa. When she passed, like he literally had no idea how to use the washer. He lived off like Burger King and KFC buckets because he would get like coupons and he would eat that shit for days. Like he didn't lift a fucking finger because like while it is traditional marriage and it can be seen as like toxic for some people, they were both like really happy doing it. Like they enjoyed that type of dynamic for them personally. But he also did a lot, dude. He ran like an entire like fucking 72-acre farm. Like, he did do a lot of work, but like he would work on the farm all day, and you know, the house would be spotless, and like she didn't bust her ass either. Like, it's not exactly that the house got super dirty, but like she would, you know, she'd spend like an hour or so like cleaning up, and then she would do what she wanted to and take a nap and like do whatever. Like, they had a decent like relationship, and like when she ended up in the nursing home, like he would go see her every single day without fail. There was a little bit of a mixed situation there towards the end, because it really seemed like he was going to the nursing home to hang out with other people besides her. However, he still saw her every day. He still like spent time with her, would eat lunch with her or whatever, and like made sure that like she was okay and doing good. However, it did kind of seem a little questionable. How often he was going there and like wasn't always with her. But like, I don't know, dude. You make friends. Do what's for you. Well, yeah, that's the thing though, is that like there's a lot of like dudes and women that like just have really toxic viewpoints of traditional marriage. But like, we don't do. Somebody made a really good point. Like, I think it was a girl. Yeah, it was a lady. She was like, if you don't have traditional marriage money, then you're not getting a traditional wife. If I have to work 40 hours, then we're splitting chores. Which is completely fucking valid, because like having someone work full time and do every single one of the household chores, take care of the kids, take care of the chores, take care of the pets, take care of you don't deserve it. You don't deserve that if all you're doing is working 40 hours. Like, if you don't have traditional wife money, then you don't get a traditional wife. But then there's some circumstances where like you can have traditional wife money, and like there's situations like, for me personally, like I'm disabled, so like I can't do 100% of the chores.
And he picks up her limped hand and he says, I think we have a decision to make.
Okay.
Do you want to stop? Molly's going through it in her head. On one hand, she doesn't want to see Stuart with anybody else, but also at the same time, she doesn't want to stop seeing Matt. So there's that. And in that moment, Molly's so confused, she doesn't even respond. And this Stuart says, I will always love you, but why don't we try a new rule? I'm not going to tell you anything more about what I'm doing, but you have to tell me everything. His sheets are hotel grade.
That's kind of hot.
And Stuart's like, shit. And the therapist is like, shit.
Oh, this took a turn.
As soon as he gets back home, she punches him square in the face. Almost broke his nose.
It's sad, but you just have to keep watching.